Now we need to actually connect this control. So if we remember back to what we did before, let's click on the assistant icon, and we'll add another action. If you remember, we just need to control click and drag from the segmented control to our view controller file. Change this to an action, segmented control, and we'll say tip percentage value did change. I'm going to make some more room here. The UI segmented control sends an index of what's selected. So this would be 0 if 15% was selected, 1, 20%, 2, and so on. In programming, remember we start counting at 0. So this is 0, 1, and 2. We can actually get this control, or any of these controls, by using this sender object. So I can put selected index equals sender dot selected segment index. And you may be wondering, how did I know to type that? Well, as you go along, you'll learn more and more about each control, and there's documentation. In our app development class, we'll cover most of the controls you need, so you'll learn all this. Also, you'll use the same methods over and over again. Before long, this will become second nature to you. And if you've already written the code, you can just go back to code you've already written and copy and paste. So once you've written something once, it's easy to do it again. Now up here, we have this as a constant. Let's go ahead and change this to a variable so we can change it. So it defaults to 20%, but we can change it to something else. Now there's 3 of these, so you could actually do an if statement. If selected index equals 0, then we can say tip percentage. We can set tip percentage equal to 0.15%. Else if selected index equals 1, percentage equals 20, and so on and so on. So let's go ahead and just test this little code block and see what happens. Let's enter $20, $4. Now let's set this to 15% and calculate the tip again. $3. Seems like it works. Set it back to 20%, calculate the tip, $4. Awesome. If we remember back to our code, when we have more than 2 options, it's better to use a switch statement. So let's switch selected index. Case 0, tip percentage equals 0.15. Case 1, tip percentage equals 0.20. Case 2, tip percentage equals 0.25. We basically just did the same thing we did before, but used a switch statement instead of an if statement. And then we'll put a default here. Default. Let's say the tip percentage defaults to 20%. Now let's calculate this. $20. Calculate the tip. 25%. $5. 15%. Calculate the tip. Wow, we've just built a lot of functionality with just a few lines of code using things you've already learned about Swift. Although this app is super simple, you could use the same things you've learned today in a complex app like the ones that Uber and Lyft have, using the exact same code. Building apps is just a series of simple building blocks. You can think of these as Legos. Once you've done something once, it's easy to reuse your code. If you go on to take one of our online or in-person development classes, you'll learn most of the important building blocks so that you can build almost anything.